everyone. So, as we know, the new Affinity came out just about 5 days ago now. And you probably noticed that my hair is getting long and it's probably time for me to get a haircut, but get over it. So, I decided to make a review on the new Affinity. And I understand that there are a lot of suspicion because a lot of old-time Affinity users see that Affinity is completely free, and so that's causing a lot of questioning. Now, while everybody has the right to their opinion, and I'm not saying this to contradict how others feel. I'm just telling you what I feel. So, I think this was a great move, and I have to say I'm really happy in the new Affinity. And yes, I understand people have the right to be concerned. Well, I have been a very long Affinity user since, I think, Affinity 1.5. So that was probably back in, 2016 maybe? I don't remember the exact date. So I was an active user, active forum member. I would do a lot of beta testing, and I have to say the staff have always really cared for the consumers. And so I don't think that there is any type of catch, in my personal opinion. Plus, one of the staff members did recently say this.
Pro designers have had almost no choice in the tools we use. Bloated software that slows you down, siloed platforms that add friction to your workflow, and tools that are, of course, crazily expensive just because of corporate greed.
And I just find that to be not very common for a company who is very successful in their product. I mean, I've made it very clear in my past videos that I do have a lot of biases when it comes to the market, and I just don't see Affinity being that way because, I don't know, I've just always really liked them. So I thought I'd make a video to just explain a lot of the things that I really like about the new Affinity. Okay, so this is what the application looks like when we first open it. So I'm going to go to File, New. All right, and I see that I'm already at Landscape, but if you want to change your file from Landscape to Portrait, you do it over here where it says Preset Orientation. I like Landscape for my drawings and Portrait for other things, but that's none of your business. What's wrong with me? Okay, so here's the new interface. Now, the first very noticeable change is right up here, these tabs. So these are now studios. They were originally known as personas. So what was originally Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, and Affinity Publisher have now merged into one application, and this is now completely free. The only thing that is not free is this studio over here. Oh, did I just talk like that? Over here? This studio over here, the Canva AI tools. So this is the only studio in which you will need a subscription, but I'm not going to be using any of those. I'm going to be using these three instead. So Vector is really what I like the best. Now, you can also add more studios here if you'd like, if you click on these three dots. And so here are all the studios that you can use. Now, I'm not going to add any more since I like, the three the best. And if I just need, if I'm going to go to slice or retouching, for example, then I could just use this menu and open it up that way. I am going to uncheck Canva though, so I just want these three options to be available. Now, something else you can do, which is really cool, is that you can edit these icons. So I'm going to right click on the vector icon and edit it. And I'm going to upload my own photo for this. Now, you're going to like this. Guess what? I still have the original Affinity logos. That's right, I kept them the whole time. Oh my lord! Alright, so let me go into show images, show all. Yeah, here we are. I'm going to use the original Affinity logo for the designer icon. And I'm going to select this checkbox, and say remove icon color, because I don't want blue on top of blue. It just wouldn't look good. So I'm going to say update, and now see it updates right away. I'm going to click over here just so I can see more clarity of the icon. I do, however, wish it wouldn't highlight the icon itself, and I wish it would just be the blue and then the title, but you know, choosers can't be beggars. Wait a minute, no, beggars can't be, oh, for God's sake. Alright, so now I'm going to go to the pixel persona, and I'm going to do the same thing. Hey, something you got to learn about me is I'm the real deal. Alright, so I'm going to fast forward the video here. Okay, and I am done. So I'm going to click here so you can see the three icons all together. Looks very nice. Now, I don't know if it's a bug or not, but something I did notice is that if I right click and edit, so I'm going to write down designer, and now I'm going to click update, but I notice it doesn't actually update the name that you give it. So I wonder if that's a small bug that I just caught. Okay, well, now going through the rest of the interface, you'll see over here, here are your Boolean operations, which is very similar to your Pathfinder. First of all, let's select an object. Okay, so here are your Boolean operations. Here is the arrange icons, and I like how they're menus, because if these three icons are over here, then we need to find a way to fit all of these in here. So send to back, send back one, forward one, move to front. Your rotating options, well, transform rather, alignment. And now this is when you're inserting a new object, whether you're pasting or drawing an object. So let's say I select this one. Now I'm going to grab the pencil tool. Okay, so I have the pencil tool here, and I don't want the rectangle selected. So this is going to be for a new drawn stroke, say about 5. Alright, now when I select this object, and now when I grab the pencil tool, we will have this first option selected. So then when I draw a new object, I draw right behind. And it's slow right now just because I can hear my computer heating up. I have a lot of storage, and so I have to take care of that. So I'm going to select this option, which will draw in front. Pencil, pencil. And now this last option, you draw inside. And that's a huge lifesaver. Okay, so that's for new Affinity users. And another thing that you'll notice for new Affinity users is the layers panel. When you draw several strokes, you see you create a new curve automatically, whereas a lot of vector designing software are usually organized in what's called parent layers, and whereas these would be the child layers, which would be inside. So if we take a look down here, there are different layer types there is a container layer, which is the same as a parent layer, groups, and pixel layers. So I'm going to create a container layer, and now I'm going to select this curve, hold shift, select the last one, so all these are selected, and then just click and drag them right into the container layer. I like calling them parent layer, but what? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I want to delete these objects. I don't want to delete my container layer. And now I see any new objects are automatically inside the container layer, and you can collapse and expand this as you wish. Now, something that I like is that your main toolbar up here will stay the same regardless of which studio you have open. Now, another thing that I'm going to customize is my toolbar over here. I like 2 columns, so I'm going to select those 3 dots, and over here I'm going to say 2 columns. Now, this looks nicer to me. And you can also rearrange these icons in a particular order that you want. So I'm going to select these 3 dots again, and I'm going to rearrange these. I want the node tool to come after the move tool. I want these 2 to stay as they are. Let's see. This is the contour tool. This is the pen tool. Alright, so I want the pen tool next to the pencil tool, so alright, let me just think of how I want this. Stroke width tool, I'm going to have that up here. So the pen tool and pencil tool are next to each other. Alright, and I think I want the shape builder tool next to the gradient tool, and have shapes and move text over there. Why? Because I have OCD. Deal with it. Alright, so I think these look good now. May I notice how these tools are separate and I like how there is a divider between them because these 2 tools do not interfere with your document. And you will also not find those in the iPad version for obvious reasons. And I also noticed that when you select a group, you have a mini tool set here. I like that better than having to select the arrow for other tools, because if you're going to select shapes, for example, you see all the shapes that are visible. And I remember the cat tool used to be an Easter egg. It wasn't within the tool set by default. That's something you had to add in additionally. It was one of those Affinity secrets. Okay, now let's get into what is new with Affinity. Aside from the 3 studios, and aside from the Canva AI tools, and aside from the program being free now, because there are new free features that will be available for new versions of Affinity, obviously. So the first thing that is new is like an improved Artboard tool. So I'm going to select the Artboard tool. Now there are 2 ways you can create multiple artboards. One is here on the context toolbar, say insert artboard, and then you can draw another artboard where you want, and you can also resize them manually. But something that I like, which is a new feature in Affinity, and yes, this is actually called version 3. They have that in the description. Now see that there are these plus icons on the sides here. You can choose where you want the next artboard to be just by selecting on those plus icons. And you can also move artboards by selecting the move tool. Yeah, I gotta update my computer because my computer is very slow right now and I have a lot of storage. So it won't be as slow once I have all that figured out. So you can select Artboard and then delete it, and then select this one, delete it. And you'll also know that you'll also see that artboards are automatically created in your layers panel. So if you want content to be in the artboard, just move your layers inside the artboard and start drawing that way. Okay, another feature is the new image trace feature in Affinity. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here in the the place tool, and okay, so this is the image I ended up getting. This weird whale penguin creature. Alright, so now let's test out the image trace and see how it works. So I'm going to go to Vector, Image Trace. Oh, and it makes, and I already see a huge difference. I'm going to zoom in. And, oh, another feature, you can zoom in by 10 million% in Affinity. So I'm just testing around, just playing. Okay, and here there's a before and after. Oh, it's strange how they have an after and before rather than a before and after. Well, as long as it's happily ever after. Okay, so here here we can see the difference. This is the after and this is the before. I'm going to take the node tool and just test this. Okay, so it's not grouped. So you can edit these in a way you want. Because I remember, I don't know if it's still the case, but I remember when using Adobe Illustrator, the image trace would group everything together and then to ungroup and ungroup and ungroup, and it was not fun. Now I'm going to give this penguin whale a colorful belly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a new feature, which I don't think anyone covered yet. It's a new gradient feature. So let's go into the gradient tool, and there is now a mesh gradient tool. So I'm going to just select, let's say, this circle here, and let's give them a little pink spot. Oh my god, I so love this penguin whale. A little purple spot, a very girly belly. Now, green, and maybe down here, let's see, like more bluish, undo, or maybe a little bit greenish. That was great. Okay, cool. Now, for anybody who could help me, there is another gradient option that I don't know. Like, I'm not sure how it works. I believe this was a new feature for Affinity 3 as well. So if I take the gradient tool and go to hatch, there is now a hatch gradient. So if I click here, this box, you can create multiple lines, I see, but I'm not sure how this works, and it doesn't look like there are any articles yet on how this gradient hatch works. So if you know, please let me know, because I'm interested to learn. For new Affinity users, there is also a pattern gradient. Well, it's technically called bitmap. So this is going to be a really cool bitmap. So he has the old Affinity logo all over him, the old Affinity designer logo. So I'm going to select bitmap. Actually, I have a better idea. I'm going to select this thing. And now you can see this like chick bird. Oh my god, this is such a cool animal. Oh. Alright, so I deleted that awesome animal because I want to show new Affinity users something. So I really like the pencil tool and how this works in this program. And again, it's only slow because of my computer right now. I have too much storage and I'm gonna have to remove a lot of things. So it draws in real-time preview, and by default you can't continue a path from the endpoint, but you can still do that if you select up here where it says sculpt mode. The sculpt mode is what allows you to continue a path from the endpoint, but it is also what allows you to redraw a vector path. Now, one thing that the sculpt mode, the one thing that the sculpt mode cannot do is that you cannot connect an endpoint to the beginning point. And for this, you would have to use the node tool. But something that I do is, while I have the pencil tool selected, I just hold command and then I just click and drag the 2 points together. However, if you're going to use the pencil tool and then you click on this gear icon, then you'll see that there is an auto close option available, and I'm going to say near, because then when I draw, you see that it does close now. But then if I use the sculpt mode, stop and release my hand and continue drawing, now it will not close. So the auto close feature is only if you're drawing from one hand, if you're drawing on one take. If you release your hand and then continue drawing, then it won't work in that case. Something that I really like in the pencil tool in Affinity is the stabilizer feature. Stabilizers is something I need. I need it! So if I draw, for example, I have a pretty shaky hand when I draw. Well, let's turn this size way up. Okay, but if I check off the stabilizer feature, I have two different stabilizers, rope and window mode. Now, I never use rope. I never use window. I always use rope. Alright, that was very unnecessary. Alright, so when I draw it, now see that there's a pull on the string approach that is for drawing smoother vector lines. And you can also increase the length of the string. So the larger the stroke you want to draw, then the larger the length is, but the shorter, then the shorter the length is. So this is just something that I really like in Affinity's pencil tool. They don't usually have this in too many programs. It was in Lazy Nezumi for Windows back in the day, and it's in Vector Styler, but aside from those, I don't think there is the stabilizer feature. I mean, unless you're talking about non-vector programs like Krita, for example, but I don't use Krita, so... So I made a mistake in a previous video of mine. I said that there's no way to scale objects in Affinity Designer when there are multiple strokes or outline effects. So if I take this object, this is my file bin object, and this was in my video, an alternative to Affinity Designer, 10 features in Amadine. So if I scale this, we'll see that it doesn't scale the way I would like it to. So if we go to stroke and then select scale with object, and then when I try scaling it, we'll see that it only scales some of the strokes, but not all of them. and that's because I have multiple strokes and outline effects on this icon. So I'm going to turn Scale with Object off, and instead I'm going to go into the Transform panel, and I didn't realize it, but there's a tool here that's hiding. If I select this, then when I rescale, now I do get the result that I'm looking for. And obviously, the same thing can be done in Affinity version 3 if you select this icon in the Transform panel here. So don't give me an attitude. And the last thing that I want to show new Affinity users is not the corner tool, not the stroke width tool, but I want to show something you can do with the shape builder tool, which is very similar to Clip Studio Paint. So the shape builder tool is more than just adding, subtracting, and intersecting shapes. You can also subtract intersecting line segments. So I'm going to select all these paths here. And now I'm going to select the shape builder tool, which is here. And up here, you'll see that the plus icon is on. That is for add, and then this is for subtract. And when I press subtract, I can delete line segments just like that. But if I try deleting this line, see what it does? And the reason it does that is because the 4 lines that I had intersecting are creating a closed region, and the shape builder tool is for adding, subtracting, and intersecting shapes. So I don't want to do that. But I just find that to be a really cool feature, that it can do more than just what a shape builder tool is meant to do, but to do those things as well, because I do like software that has more of a freestyle drawing approach, and so that is very helpful for me. Now, I didn't cover anything in the Pixel Studio or the Layout Studio. I thought maybe I could do that in later videos, because I am a vector fan for the most part. However, I am getting into UI design, and so I might check out the Layout Studio and check out the tools that were in Affinity Publisher. Now that everything is for free, why not? So I know this wasn't exactly a tutorial video, but I hope this video was still entertaining to watch. And like I mentioned, I love Affinity software, so I'm really happy about this update. And I really look forward to seeing how they're going to incorporate version 3 onto the iPad for when it comes out, because that is what I'm going to be using the most. Toodles!